What is going on, everybody? It is your man R0B back at it again with another New York Giants video. And in today's video, we're going to be kind of diving in a little bit to some of the swirling stories that are going around about Odell Beckham Jr. Now, obviously, a lot of you guys are, familiar with the story, familiar with what's going around. And we're going to dive into it. We're going to talk about it here for a little bit. But before we do, if you are new to the channel, be sure to go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on those bell notifications so that you never miss another upload. And we're going to dive right into it. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to dive right into it. So obviously, Odell Beckham was traded going into the 2019 offseason. So 2018, which was Saquon Barkley's rookie year, that offseason, he was given a contract during that season, and then they traded him, or I believe it was at the end of the year, gave him a contract, did an interview, then he got traded to the Browns. Was there for a little bit, got traded to the Rams, and won a championship last season, but tore his ACL in the Super Bowl. So now this was back in February. He's getting to that point where he is getting ready to play. I believe he was just cleared yesterday or today to be able to resume some activity. And teams are calling. They are knocking on the door to try to go ahead and bring him in. And he did an interview where he named a few teams that were going after him. He mentioned the Buffalo Bills, the Green Bay Packers, the Dallas Cowboys, and the New York Football Giants. Now, if you remember, Joe Shane was asked at his press conference just about a week ago and was asked, about Odell Beckham, and said that he would consider him when he's healthy and speak to his representatives. But then on Tiki and Tierney's show, he stated that he was in contact and in communication with his representatives, and they were looking to see what the timetable would be in regards to his availability. When would he be available? Now, Paul Schwartz mentioned that there may even be a possibility he might not even play this year, where depending on how his recovery is going, I know he was just cleared, but he wouldn't be ready until probably sometime in December to be a full go for contact, or as late as January, which would be like in the playoffs. That was what he had stated. So I don't know what the timetable would be being cleared to resume football activity and being able to actually physically go out there and play. I'm not sure what that timetable is. Now, when it comes down to the teams that he mentioned that he could potentially, go to, the one that makes obviously the most sense is the Buffalo Bills, right? They're primed to go ahead and win a championship. They're playing at a very, very high level right now. But there is a little bit of a Debbie Downer, is that this past Sunday, Josh Allen suffered a UCL sprain, I believe, which is in the elbow, and that may potentially have him sidelined for a few weeks. Now, that could, I'm not saying that will derail their playoff appearance, but it does open up the door for teams like the Jets, teams like the Dolphins to go ahead and creep up and potentially get that, to win the division, right? So that is going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I think with this injury, it potentially does take them out of the position to where he may not want to go to the Buffalo Bills. Okay. Now, Green Bay Packers, they are in a downward spiral right now when it comes down to it, and it doesn't seem like they are very active in wanting to really pursue him. Nor do I feel that at a 3-5 record that OBJ would want to go there. They have 3 wins. They're below 500, and it's not looking good over there in Green Bay. So why would he want to go to there? Why would he want to go there? Dallas is. They are 6-2, right? They have a great front four. They're more than likely going to be in the playoffs, and they're in contention. Does this make sense? Yeah, potentially. And then obviously you have the New York Giants, and you mentioned reuniting or reunion with the Giants. And I think deep down that is something that OBJ has always wanted. I think he's always wanted to come back. I don't think he ever wanted to leave. And I think he values and has a very deep and close relationship with not only Sterling Shepard, but Saquon Barkley as well. I think they've been in constant communication. I think they've always been talking, obviously. And it would not surprise me one bit if this were to come to fruition. Now, is it legitimate? Do we have a legitimate chance? I don't know. It's hard to say. There are so many factors with this, whether he would come back or not. But let's kind of dive into it. So, a team like the Bills is not going to be offering Odell Beckham a long-term deal, which is what he stated he wants. He doesn't want to go ahead and get a 1-year deal, a 2-year deal. He or not necessarily a 2-year deal, but he doesn't want a 1-year deal. He wants a place where he could settle in, buy home, and call it home, right? And I think he's looking anywhere from a 2 to 4-year commitment. Okay, now when it comes down to it, I don't think that the Buffalo Bills are ready to go ahead and make that offer. You have Stephon Diggs that's under contract. You have Gabe Davis, who you're going to be offering up a new deal. Josh Allen's new contract is going to be coming up as well. And so I don't necessarily see them being a team that's going to be able to offer Odell Beckham a few-year contract when they're going to have other areas that they're going to have to address. So I think that leaves the Bills out unless he's willing to take a 1-year deal and go there and win a championship. Green Bay, I think there's a downward spiral. And again, there's uncertainties on whether Aaron Rodgers is going to play beyond this year. He's already stated, thoughts about retirement after the season. And so I don't think that that's a very appealing place or someplace that he wants to go. Now, the other two destinations are Dallas and the New York Giants. Now, with Dallas again, I could see them being a 1-year deal. I don't see that being something that they could go ahead and offer him a long-term contract and giving him that 2 or 3-year commitment. I just don't see that being able to happen. They drafted Noah Brown. They've got some young wide receivers. They just went ahead and traded due to the salary cap situation to free up some money because they didn't have any. They went and just traded away their $100 million wide receiver in Amari Cooper. They just went ahead and they re-signed Michael Gallup this past offseason. Dak got his contract. Zeke is still under contract. Tyron is still under contract. They have to go ahead and they have to sign Schultz. So it's there's a lot of money that's going to be that's going to need to go up and be taken care of. And I just don't see them being able to go ahead and give a long-term commitment. And you're not going to ask a quarterback that you just signed to a long-term, 4, 5, 6-year deal over $100 million. You're not going to go ahead and ask him when I think Dak's due like $48 or $49 million next year. You're not going to ask him to take a pay cut so that you can go ahead and bring in a wide receiver. So to me, the two logical spots, in my opinion, are going to be the Bills and the Giants. Now, you're probably saying, Rob, why would you think that the Giants are a logical spot? They have Daniel Jones. Well, let me express this. This is not in a defense of Daniel Jones or wanting to see him with a better weapon, but this is something where Odell Beckham would absolutely 100% help out this New York Giants team. And some of the players that he would help out, one would be Saquon Barkley. You put a guy like, Odell Beckham on the outside, and he's going to immediately demand some respect, and that's going to alleviate some of that pressure in the box that Saquon Barkley is dealing with at the present moment. That also could open up things for guys like Kenny Golladay, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Daniel Bellinger when he returns from his eye injury. And it's also going to make things a little bit easier for the offensive line as well. And I think all in all, it's going to go ahead and it's going to help this franchise. Now, let's think about some of the things that Odell said before he left the franchise, right? And he called things out as far as Eli Manning and, look at who we had in place. Well, right now, I think when you look at it, you got to see a little bit that there is a difference in that front office. You got Joe Shane there as the GM. You got Dave Gettleman, Brian Daboll, that's there as far as the head coach. And they did not pick up Daniel Jones's 5th-year option. Now, if I'm OBJ, I'm looking at that. I'm like, okay, they're not committing to a quarterback that looks to be potentially mediocre or not as good. Okay, that's a good sign. Now, you're going to be talking with Sterling Shepard. You're going to be talking with Saquon Barkley, and they're telling you how different and positive it is inside the locker room. And you could see the way that the players appreciate, love, and play for Brian Daboll and the rest of that Giants coaching staff. And I think it also starts with Joe Shane. So for me, I think when you're Odell Beckham and you want to commit to a 2 to 4 year deal, I think that there are future contentions available for the New York Giants. And I think Odell Beckham can see that. And I think that it would be, I would not be surprised, and not necessarily saying that I wouldn't be surprised, but I'd like to see Odell and Joe Shane come to an agreement, and well, Odell's representatives, to bring him in. Because I think that Joe Shane could go ahead and offer him. I would be okay with a 3 or 4 year deal where you backload the contract on the 3 or 4 years. That's when you're going to have the majority of your cap space, and you go ahead and you build. And more than likely, they're going to end up with a rookie quarterback next year. And I firmly believe it's probably going to be Anthony Richardson. That's who I think it's going to be. That's who I think is going to be available. I'd like Will Levis, but I think that Anthony Richardson provides a good skill set. He's got a strong arm. He's a young kid. He's 20, 21 years old. And I really think that he's going to go ahead and elevate this offense and be able to do things that right now Daniel Jones may struggle to do. He'll go ahead and he'll rip it. He'll throw the ball down the field. And I think that having a guy like Odell Beckham on the outside, even at the age of 30 or 31, at 30, he'll still be 30 years old because he just turned 31. So he won't be 31 until November of next year. So he'll be 31 years old. I think a guy like that, having him on the outside, having a guy like Saquon Barkley in your backfield, and then you're going to have a guy like Wan'Dale Robinson, who's going to be another year into this offense, a tight end like Daniel Bellinger, 2 bookend tackles with Evan Neal and Andrew Thomas, and then you're going to fill out the middle part of your offensive line. I think that actually looks pretty good if you ask me. Now, again, will this happen? More than probably not. Is Dallas a little bit more appealing because of the quarterback? Absolutely. But and Buffalo as well. But when you look at online and you look at Twitter and you see the way that Von Miller is trying to lobby for him to come, and you look at the way Des Bryant and Micah Parsons are lobbying for these guys, lobbying for him to try to bring him in. Yeah, these guys probably all share phone numbers and they could just go ahead and text him, and they probably are texting him. They probably are calling him. They probably are doing all of these things, but the Giants are not. Saquon Barkley is not. Shepard is not. I mean, you could see online and on Twitter where you could see, where they're sharing tweets back and forth, but I just don't necessarily see the fact that I think it's just all play. They're just having a good time, and just playing around. And I don't necessarily see, Saquon Barkley saying, yo, OBJ, come back home, come here, come there. Look, at the end of the day, I know that OBJ and Saquon and Shep, they're talking. I mean, Sterling Shepard, after surgery, he's at the facility. He wants to be there. He wants to be on the field. There is a different culture. There is a different aroma that is inside this organization, and it is rocking, and it is popping, and it is contagious. And I think it's something that you could go ahead, if you're Odell Beckham, you view this, and you're like, man, this is what I've been looking for. Like, this is what I was looking for the entire time. And, now that Odell Beckham is a little bit older and he's got a family and he's got kids, and, I really think that it's something that I'd love to see. I think that it could happen. And I think that it should happen. At the end of the day, I think that Odell is going to do whatever he feels is best for him, and best for his family, and that's all that you can ever try to do. And I even said it today, he's a father now. And when you become a father, I know for me, when I became a dad, everything became about what to do with my kids and how to provide my kids a better life. And that's all I ever wanted to do and all I ever could do. And I wanted to do everything I could to provide them a good life. But you got to think, you come into that media market in New York, you're going to get buku bucks. You're immediately going to be the next biggest name that is going to be like, I mean, you're Odell Beckham coming home to the New York Giants. How much bigger can that be? You could argue that that return would be bigger and he would be bigger than Saquon Barkley being on that team. So for me, I hope it happens with everything that I can possibly imagine. I would love for him to come back, not because I want to bring back Daniel Jones, not because I think it'll help. Of course, it'll help Daniel Jones, but at the end of the day, this offense, this team needs help. And what one player to go ahead and give you a spark, what one player that can juice you up and provide a swagger rather than Odell Beckham Jr. Bring him back. The New York fans want him. The New York media misses him. The Giants fan base misses him. Like, come on, make it happen. Offer him that 2 to 4 year deal. Get that, lock him up, bring him in, and let's get it done. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Are you all for Odell Beckham coming back? Do you not want him back? What are your guys' thoughts on it? Again, if you guys are new, be sure to go ahead and hit that like button. It does help the videos get noticed. Smash that subscribe button. Turn on those bell notifications so that you guys don't miss another upload. I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm R0B, signing off. Have a good night.